Do you need cash? Do you want to consolidate debt? Premier Credit can help. They provide quick and confidential loans for any reason. Their service is same day, and most loans are approved within minutes. You can apply in person or by the phone. Their experienced and knowledgeable loan professionals will leave you feeling confident that your loan is being properly handled in a secure manner. Premier Credit can be reached at 225-667-8100, or you can email WeSayYes@premiercredit.com, or stop by and spin the wheel at 139 Del Norte Avenue in Denham Springs. They're open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and are a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. So logistically speaking, how difficult is it not only to plan a fair for the city of Denham Springs, but be the first to do it? Do the late hours involved in owning a bar wear on you after a while? Is owning a pawn shop as much fun as it looks? And when you are a planner of large events, what do you do when a pandemic hits? All these questions will be answered today when my guest and lifelong Livingston Parish resident, Tony Jarreau, talks about all of that. So with that, welcome, Tony, to Local Leaders, the podcast.
Thank you, Jim. I really appreciate it, man. I think this is really good what you're doing.
Awesome. Well, I like promoting people like you. And we were talking a little bit before the show on you specifically and how interesting your life has been in a lot of ways. You've owned a lot of businesses. You've been in the military. You were a police officer at one point, but you are a promoter of all things worth promoting now, and especially music events, things like that. So I want to get into all of that with you. I want to get a little bit about your background first, where you're from and where you attended high school.
Yeah, I went to Walker High School. I'm right here in Livingston Parish.
Wildcats.
That's right. I graduated in 1994. I was captain of the football team, and it was the first year Walker went to the playoffs.
Really?
And I don't know how many years. There's 30, 40 years or something. It might have been. I heard it wasn't the first time that Walker ever went to the playoffs. I heard like back in the 30s or something. They made a playoff run or something. But we were the first one in a very long time. So, yeah, I'm a Walker boy.
Awesome. And what position did you play in?
I played offensive tackle. And defensive tackle.
Okay.
I was a small tackle, but I was wiry and good. Yeah.
You got to be aggressive too, and you're probably pretty quick for a tackle, and that always helps. Q played on the line himself, so you can relate to that. He was the guard. He was right next to you.
I love guard. Yeah. I always thought like if I went to the next level and played, that's the position I would play guard. I thought it fitted me better,
Yeah. Yeah, so that's awesome. Go Wildcats, Walker boy, born and raised. And after high school, you entered the military. Tell us a little bit about that. Now, you've owned a lot of businesses, and I would imagine the military was kind of early prep for some lessons that you still deal with today in business.
The probably one of the biggest treasures that the military gave me, the Marine Corps gave me, was just dealing with different personalities. I mean, there are so many type of personalities you have to deal with, even from being in a submissive role or a leadership role. And you have to learn how to walk that fine line with all those personalities. Definitely when I became a business owner, man, that paid back in dues there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was really big for me. That was a big transition from the Marine Corps to business, because everything's so structured in the military. Well, business is way more chaotic. And so I didn't, go from the Marine Corps to straight into business. After I got out of the Marine Corps, I put my resume out there, and I actually only got 2 job offers, really. I could have been a manager at Piccadilly or a Baton Rouge police officer. So,
wow. And you picked the police officer.
I chose to be a police officer, even though I eat at Piccadilly all the time, and I love that place. But
Hell yeah.
it was the best job for me at the time.
Sure. And definitely the military, I'm sure, prepared you for that.
Sure.
And obviously thank you for your service to the military. I have a long military history in my family as well. And a lot of respect for people that you're really out there protecting people you don't even know. Same thing in as a police officer.
Right.
I've had a few on the show, and I always mention that it takes a special kind of person to put themselves in danger for people they don't know. It's easy for us to do it for our family.
Right.
But when it's somebody you've never met, it takes a special kind of individual to go out there and they know they're walking into danger. And so kudos for that. We're going to go into detail a little bit about some of your business ventures, discuss why you chose them and how you found success with each. Now, at some point, you started the Denham Springs Fair. I've been to several of them. I think, are you at your third now, or is this the third or fourth season of it?
April would have been the one that was canceled this past because of COVID would have been, I want to say the fifth.
Fifth. Okay. Yeah, I've definitely been to a couple, and they're typically at North Park, is it?
South
Park. So I've been to a couple of those. Now, what possessed you to, what got in your mind to where you were like, Denham Springs needs a fair? Because, of course, they had the Livingston Parish Fair that was very popular. But I agreed with you. When you started it, I remember thinking, I didn't know you at the time, but I remember thinking that's something that's needed in Denham Springs.
Yeah, well, I have one of my high school friends I graduated with, Greg Brooks, owns a carnival, and he travels all over the United States putting on these carnival stuff, and we stay in touch. And he called me one day needing some help to promote a concert at one of his events. And that's what I do, is put on large concerts and such. And I said, sure. And it worked out really good. It was a great collaboration. And I said, man, why don't we go back home where we're from, and do something? He says, well, the Livingston Parish Fair just has it on lock over there. They just kind of soak up it all. And I said, nah. I said, listen, we can go to Denham Springs. Denham Springs is the flagship.
Yeah.
Of the parish. It's kind of, if we had a capital, it would be Denham Springs just because of the size and population and such. So I was like, look, we can, and they don't have a Denham Springs fair. They have, the little one they do for the Catholic Church. That's a very small fair. And then they have, the antique district little vendors and stuff. That's really cool. But, they don't have a full carnival. And I knew and we have a large carnival, and then we can make that thing grow. South Park is huge. Also, what's great about South Park is everybody has forgotten about South Park. Everybody knows North Park and does stuff there, but South Park is very underutilized. And I thought this was a good opportunity to kind of reintroduce South Park as well.
I agree. And I live on that side of Denham Springs. So for me, it was especially nice because, not that North Park was super far from me, but it was just so much more convenient. And so I was happy to see it there. And I would imagine another advantage is with your experience planning concerts and things like that, you brought kind of a different mix to a fair because you kind of were very familiar with how to book bands and things like that. Had some pretty good bands over there at
very good
at South Park. So kudos for that. And how's the success been of the fair in your opinion?
It's had some good years, but I've had some very bad luck. 2018 was a really tough year for me. I put on around, including the Denham Springs Fair, I put on 5 or 6 shows that year, large shows, events, including the Denham Springs Fair. 5 in a row got rained out.
Wow.
It was like, it was just such bad luck. Like, and some of these events, I look at the Farmer's Almanac and I see the percentage of rain historically at that time, and it's never higher than 28% or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just do the odds on that, Yeah. That's if you had a roulette wheel at 100 spots and there's only 28 spots you can hit, for it to be a bad day. And if you did that 5 times in a row and hit one of those 28 spots, what's the odds of that?
Yeah.
It's astronomical. It really is. It's crazy. And so it was a tough year for me. I mean, it almost, got to the point where I was questioning if I was doing the right thing still.
Yeah. If you're in the market to purchase a home or sell your home, then Tricia Johnston of Ladder and Blum Realty can assist. With over a decade of experience in the area, Tricia's vast knowledge of real estate makes her the perfect realtor to represent you. For more information, Tricia can be reached at area code 225-754-2000 or via her website at triciajohnston.com. Tricia Johnston, building a strong foundation of trust, one home at a time. Yeah, and that's I get any event. The biggest hurdle you have to overcome are the things you cannot control, like the weather.
I call them curveballs.
Yeah,
every people ask me that all the time. They said, "These events, man, what's the hardest part?" I said, "It's the curveballs. It's things that you can't plan for." It's because I've gotten good at it. Like I've been promoting and putting on shows since 2006.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I did it. My first shows I did was the MMA fights. I was doing large mixed martial arts events. I did them at the PMAC. I've done them at North Park here. I've done them all over. Yeah. Done them at even No Problem Raceway. Like we've done them everywhere. And I just stopped doing them because the market dried up for them. Because when I went and got my Louisiana promoter's license, you have to get your promoter's license through the State Boxing Commission because it falls under that jurisdiction.
Sure.
When I got my promoter's license, I was maybe one of, I think, 8 people in the state of Louisiana that was doing it. By 2010, there was over 100 and something promoters putting on MMA fights. And they were,
wow.
And people couldn't, and I had a real quality show and some people didn't. A lot of these small promoters didn't. And so the everyday people out there, our customers, our clients couldn't differentiate between whose promotion was what. On the small promotions.
Yeah.
So these bad little promotions started wrecking mine and then it just wasn't worth it. I did one.
You did one.
I did one. It was
recently.
the first time I did one in years. And it might be my last. I never say never to anything.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of work.
Yeah.
And, but it was fun. It was a good little event.
Sure. And there's a lot that goes, I'm a huge fan of MMA. I've been to several championship fights in Vegas. Went to one in Houston where Daniel Cormier was fighting. So Lafayette boy, for those that may not know.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm actually pushing for Daniel Cormier to be in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame.
Oh, he should be.
Yeah, he should be. Yeah. I think
it.
what they're doing is he has to be retired so long.
Yeah.
Before they introduce him, but that was, I think, something very important.
Absolutely. Olympian. He was probably the best heavyweight. Light heavyweight champion in UFC history outside of John Jones and maybe one of the best heavyweight champions ever.
The crazy thing is Daniel Cormier is one of the only fighters. Not only did I put on the shows, but I owned Gladiators Academy, which was a gym in Baton Rouge that I created.
Gladiators. I didn't know you created that. That's interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
I put that gym together and I recruited the best mixed martial artists to train there. Well, we really produced every great fighter out of Louisiana that's made it to the UFC pretty much went through that gym.
Yeah.
Daniel Cormier was one of the few that didn't, but the Dustin Poirier that you see there now.
Oh, yeah.
The Rich Clementi, Tim Crater, Kyle Bradley here from Denham. They all went through Gladiators Academy,
No kidding.
Absolutely. Even they had even Pat Barry was in there. Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, did you have anything to do with the Beat to Sleep?
No, Beat to Sleep was a clothing line.
Okay.
They start off as a clothing line and they end up putting on one show and they put on one event. So a lot of people thought them as mostly as a promotion, but there really wasn't. They was just a clothing line.
Okay. I think if they did it at the Centralplex, I went to that event.
No, they actually did it at the PMAC.
Was it the PMAC?
The PMAC, yeah.
I went to an event. It must have been the PMAC I was at, but I did go to an event they did.
There were sponsors on a lot of events. So a lot of times you might have thought they were doing these events.
Yeah.
Even some of my events, they were big sponsors. You saw their banners everywhere and stuff. So you could have easily mistaken it as which is a great sponsorship.
Sure.
I try to look. When I put on my shows, a lot of times you don't see Jarreau Entertainment so much as you see maybe All Star Chevrolet, because you'll think this show. That's when you do your sponsors justice by making people think that's who's actually putting on the show.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you want the focus to be on them, not you. And you're exactly right. So that was interesting. I did not realize that you were so in deep with MMA. That, man, Gladiators Academy, that was over off Jefferson, wasn't it?
No, we were off. We were originally in the Broadmoor Shopping Center.
Okay.
On Florida.
Yeah,
that's where we originally started, and then I made me and Donnie Jarreau, the owner of Spectrum.
Yeah.
And all them, we got together and combined our schools, and we moved to off of that huge Spectrum they had off of Monterey.
Okay. Are you related to?
No, we're not, but we call each other cousin, and we're good friends though. And he's a great look. He's a great business guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's sharp, man.
Been around a long time doing business. So promoting obviously is something that you love. You basically opened, the fair for us here in Denham Springs, gave people another option to go to a fair. And as I just spoke of, you have some great bands there, things like that. So in the future, Denham Springs Fair, you see that, go check it out. I've been several times. My family loved it. And we will definitely be back whenever we're able to do those things again, Tony. So you also owned Laguna Beach Daiquiris. You've since sold it. What was it like to own your own daiquiri bar? And another question in relation to that, it's a lot of late hours. Was it kind of hard for you to adjust, or were you someone that just you were always up till 4 o'clock in the morning and a day sleeper, I guess you could say? Tell me a little bit about the bar
transition
business.
Went from Gladiators Academy to, I actually owned at the same time I owned Gladiators Academy. I owned a bar in Baton Rouge called Bayou Billiards. It was a large pool hall.
At BallonMania, they have balloon decor to fit any event, any size, and on any budget. You can browse their pictures and albums page on Facebook at BallonMania of Louisiana for ideas and to view their latest products. BallonMania of Louisiana also provides pickup services and delivery to Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. BallonMania of Louisiana is located in Denham Springs and is a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast.
It was Florida and Sharp, and so that pool hall, I love to play pool. Like I'm a scratch pool player. Like I play pool very well. So if you see Tony in a pool hall and he acts like he sucks, don't play him for money. It'd be like Tom Cruise out there. Oh yeah, The Color of Money. That was awesome. That was a great movie. So I had the bar and I had the Gladiators Academy. So I had them both, and I was at the same time. Those were new businesses to me. The bar business, pool hall, and then the fighting business, and then I was starting to put on fight shows for the gym. So I had that moving parts went on. When I was getting out of when I sold the gym, and I was still putting on shows, but I was kind of getting at the end of that journey in my life. Those shows were kind of, I had the bar and I said, I was going to sell Bayou Billiards because I wanted to get out of Baton Rouge and I wanted to come back to my home, to Livingston Parish. But I said, look, I'm a different level business owner, bar owner, promoter now. I said, you know what I can do? I can come back to my hometown where I'm from, and I know everybody. I know how to promote now. Understand the bar business. Why wouldn't I get a bar in Livingston Parish? Where, it would just make sense. Sure. So I went looking around for bars, whether I was going to build one or buy one. And Laguna Beach Daiquiris, I walked in, and it was a beautiful little bar. The guys that owned it were from Lafayette and stuff, and they were more, they had plenty money. Yeah. But they wasn't there, and they didn't have their hands on. They never owned a bar. They just didn't have. They're great guys, but they just didn't understand that business.
Right.
And so when I walked in, the place was so. I mean, they had like 17 TVs in there or something. It was ridiculous. It had because the business owners, when business wasn't doing good, they just kind of kept putting money into it.
Yeah.
And just making it much nicer. Well, when I got it, I was like, I even remember negotiating with those guys, and they were like, yeah, what it place, for the price. They was like, it has all this stuff in it. And I was like, look, I don't need all that stuff.
Yeah.
You can take it.
Yeah.
Leave me 3 TVs, that's all I need. And then I told them, and so we ended up working out a deal, and I ended up buying it. And the place just, exceeded all expectations for me.
Great.
I went in there and I did some things that never been done before, like in the bar business. So I went in there and I said, I'm going to do live music, live entertainment every night. We're talking 7 nights a week. And I'm never going to charge a cover charge.
Wow.
All the bar owners around said, he'll be dead in 2 months.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it was the exact opposite. Like it went crazy after this. Every bar then had to actually step up their game.
Yeah.
They had entertainment one night a week, maybe on a Friday or a Saturday. And now all of a sudden they're booking during the week. They're just trying to compete,
Yeah.
Forced them to. It totally changed the music scene here too. So now the music scene, they had all these little bands who were starving.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden they're in high demand because everybody's fighting because they're trying to mimic my model that I created.
Yeah.
And but if you're not first, you're last. So they were always playing catch up. And we really did a great job and killed it, man.
Yeah. And, I would imagine, Tony, that you obviously have a great mind for business. And I would imagine you're someone that kind of, business people that are really, really good at what they do in business, typically they'll sit back and they'll think about what, it's always about, like you say, getting an edge, being first. And if you're not first, you're last. And it's, all of us in our own individual businesses are competitive. If you're not competitive, then you're probably not a very successful business person. But what keeps us, having that successful edge over our competition is also a lot of reflection and constantly trying to improve whatever your business model is. And I'm sure there were times when you would sit back and you would think, what else can I do that is going to kind of separate my bar from somebody else's bar or from everybody else's bar? Like in your case, not charging a cover charge. A lot of people would think that's insane. Like you say, you can be out of business in 2 months, but you proved that if you have good content there, such as great bands, you don't have to charge a cover charge. They'll come. Great thing about bands are they typically get a following. So if I really like a band and they're playing at several different bars in Livingston Parish, I'm going to kind of follow them around and Dane Arnold with Itradexchange has been enabling small business in the Livingston Parish area to save cash through his network of over 300 participating Livingston Parish businesses. Saving cash by trading services with other exchange members is what Itradexchange is all about. For more information, contact Dane Arnold at 225-205-3640 or visit itradexchange.biz. You kind of, bands owe you a lot from the aspect of you gave them an outlet to kind of start. And 7 days a week. That's huge.
They do. They appreciate it. Like I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many of these bands call me. And I still have I have a great ear for it too. Like there's some bands, I got this concert coming up at the Livingston Fairgrounds. And there's a band on there that nobody really around here knows about. And they are awesome.
Yeah.
They are really good. And even Downfall, the other act that's on there, that they're kind of known now. But when they first started playing for me, they wasn't, super known. But man, I started putting them on these big events, on these fairs, and I did some battles of bands at the Texas Club, and all of a sudden everybody's like, have you heard of this band Downfall?
Yeah.
They're amazing. I'm like, yeah, I've known about that secret a long time,
Oh, yeah.
And this other band, this little country band we have coming up called Bulletproof, man, you talk about really good. But going back to what you were talking about earlier is about, having, being first and stuff. The key to business, All right. And I tell people this all the time. And sounds really simple, but it's not. Is you have to understand your strengths and weaknesses in business. You really do. You take advantage of where you're strong and you get help where you're weak. All right. The strong part's the easy part. People won't admit are very stubborn often on that weak side and don't want to get help, and they end up drowning themselves or making themselves look bad, or, just being their own worst enemy, not knowing it.
Yeah.
Instead of just being very self-aware. So that's the key right there.
Being honest with yourself.
Self-aware, understanding, hey, look, I'm not good at this. I need to get some help. And when you get some help, then it's going to make your business that much better in that spot. And then when you have something strong, don't get complacent with okay, I'm really good at that. No, say, okay, I'm really good at this. Let's take advantage of it. But what's the best way we can maximize our potential with this strength? What's what I'm good at?
It's great advice. And so very true. There's, if you're someone you're not strong in sales, but maybe you own a business where it requires selling, it's probably a bad idea to go out there knowing, and probably deep down inside, you're not the best salesman, but you're hard-headed, and you go out there and try to sell and you're not closing deals. Get you a good salesman, get you someone out there that is good at what they do, because that's their strength. And that's a hard thing for business owners to accept a lot of times, because business owners are typically very protective of their business. And sometimes they feel like they can do something better than anybody else. And so that is fantastic advice. And I'm sure one of the many keys to, your success in all your businesses. So I want to move on a little bit. Livingston Pawn, you own Livingston Pawn?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about what it's like to be in a pawn shop business.
Well, that's an interesting business. I never planned on being in the pawn shop business. What happened was I'm a real estate investor. A lot of people don't understand that. So when I do these events and you make some money off of it, then you have to understand where do you do with your money you make from these events?
Buy a bunch of cars, right?
No, I don't buy a bunch of cars. Well, I always I have a decent vehicle, but I don't buy a bunch of stuff like that. What I did was, typically, I'm not very disciplined with money. So what I do is I buy something I know is good for my portfolio and hurry and get it out of my hands.
Very good.
And then once I've bought something like property, I'm not touching it. You know, okay, it's that money's spent, it's done. But it helps build up your assets and such. Well, the pawn shop came along that corner of Florida and 63 right there in Livingston. It's a huge building there. It's a great piece of property. I really think Gary Lewis rented and invested heavily in Satsuma. He built all that thinking that Satsuma is going to be the next big intersection. Yeah. And I really think it's going to be Livingston Parish. I think because of the courthouse there and all those plants. You see now they got Pepsi there, Epic. They got the McDonald's warehouse that's off of Florida now. Like that, I think it's going to, because of that industry, because of the heavy industry there, I think that Livingston 63 right there, south and north, and Florida Boulevard right there will be the next hot spot. So that corner there is something like Walgreens or CVS or they always snatch up those corners. So I went in and bought that corner. Well, once I bought it, I was like, okay, what am I going to do with this? Now, I guess we could rent out this big old building. My younger brother was the GM of Pelican Pawn in Baton Rouge, and he ran that place. I mean, the whole entire place, but he was kind of hitting a glass ceiling because the owner's son was his boss, and he was never going to get any further than where he was at in that spot. So, and there was no pawn shop in Livingston. So, my brother was like, the pawn shop would do great there. And I was like, you know what? I got to do something with this place. So
why not?
Let's do it. Put my little brother in action, and he's done a great job out there. And it's a very interesting business, man, because, I broke one of my rules. I don't like investing in opening business I knew nothing about. Yeah. But I trusted my little brother. Yeah. And who had experience. And I'm experienced with business enough that I know I could learn and adjust and make adjustments pretty quick. And that's what we've done. We took that little place, and if you go walk through it, we have over $300,000 in inventory in there now. It's really grown. We've done some add-ons to the building, so we're increasing the property value. We're increasing the inventory, and they got some crazy stuff comes in out of that place.
Yeah, I can imagine it runs the gamut.
I had a newspaper. That was kind of cool. It was like, I forget, it was the day after Elvis died.
Wow.
And it was the Memphis, Tennessee front page, the day after Elvis died. And it was a nice little paper, It was a collector's item and stuff.
Absolutely.
We looked it up. They had them on eBay and stuff that were selling. It was legit. That was kind of a cool item that came through there, but a lot of just unique stuff,
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, there's never, I would imagine a lack of fun in the pawn shop, and the things that come in there every day, always changes. So it's interesting. Y'all got tools there, guitars, jewelry, all that kind of stuff.
Man.
Awesome.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised, like a pawn shop, a lot of people, kind of get a bad rap, but it's really not that crazy. The only time a pawn shop it gets heavy on the, it becomes burdensome on somebody getting a loan is if they wait too long to pay it back. Because it's a compound interest thing. But let's say they get a loan, they just need a loan for 30 days. It's not a bad deal at all.
No.
It's 20%. So, you get $100, you pay back 120. Well, you'd be surprised how many people don't have good credit and, can't just walk into a bank and get $500.
Sure.
They won't be allowed. So the pawn shop has the same license a bank has.
Yeah.
And a lot of, and with bank securities and such. We had to go through that to get it. And you'd be surprised how many people use a pawn shop as their kind of like their little personal bank.
Sure. I mean, and one thing about a pawn shop, you don't have a credit check there like you do at a bank. And some people just ain't comfortable with, maybe they're wanting to get a house and they can't have anybody pull their credit, but they need to get some money fast. And who knows what, things happen in life, and it's good to have a pawn shop around that you can go into and like you say, 20% if you pay it off within 30 days and you can get some money in your hands.
But back to why I opened that pawn shop it was a real estate investment for me.
Yeah.
And it still is. That's really my main goal with it. Hopefully my younger brother, keeps doing well with it. And once that sells, we can just move it to another spot.
Yeah. And real estate is my opinion, one of the best things you can ever invest in, because you can't manufacture real estate. You buy it once, and then several people can buy the same piece if it's sold, obviously, but it's not something you can make. There's only so much freaking space in the world, and so that's a great investment, in my opinion. So let me ask you this. So you've got a lot of love on Facebook with your page and stuff like that. You got tons of followers, man. I think it was 9,000 last time I looked. That's a big deal. I mean, that's not easy. That,
actually. We have an email list too. That's huge. And we have an email list. We have 9,000 on our Jarreau Entertainment page. We have, I have 5,000 followers that are, when I say I have 5,000 friends on Facebook, this isn't like people that, just random people that I'm adding. I'm talking, these are people who actually follow my stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're legit.
Yeah.
5,
Yeah.
So it's a big difference between just, these
huge,
a lot of spam. You get a lot of stuff on Facebook that's crazy. I filter hard through that stuff and have really got tailored that group of people too. So yeah, we got a great little following here.
Very good. And so if you're interested in that, you can just punch up Jarreau Entertainment. It'll pull up all all the Facebook page information. Give them a follow on Facebook. So we're going to William Waldrep of TWFG Insurance in Denham Springs can service all of your insurance needs. Offering auto, life, health, and commercial insurance, William Waldrep of TWFG Insurance is a proud supporter of Local Leaders, the podcast. Get into something else here. This is something I'm really interested in personally, and that is your transition to where you eventually sold Laguna Beach and you you obviously have a love, an absolute passion for planning large events, concerts, things like that. I would imagine, especially. So you formed Jarreau Entertainment, and then shortly after that, March hit, and COVID right behind it. We feel bad for every business, obviously, that suffered, especially in the beginning, restaurants especially. But you were even an exception from beyond a restaurant in the fact that at least they could still do takeout. You were in a situation. This guy plans events that rely on people to actually be around each other. At the beginning of COVID, nobody knew, obviously, the death rate was 20 million people were going to die in the United States. And it was just totally, they had to get more information. Then they found out, okay, it's not quite as bad as we thought as far as a death rate. And it's constantly fluid and changing as people learn. But what was going through your head when you, I would imagine, turned on the news, or when you heard the news that, oh, I can't do any events at all? I mean, what was the thought process there?
Well, you first just hope that it's not as bad as everybody says. That's the first thing you hope. And
sure.
Not just for my business, for just for the health of everybody. That was my first thought. Then I did realize, what I do when you talk about the governor opening up phases, right? There's phase 1, 2, 3, and so far. I'm going to I don't know what phase for them to allow me to do what I do on the scale I was doing it. There has to be no more phases.
Right.
You're just
wide open
because I'm the last thing they're going to allow to happen. So I don't know what phase that looks like. I don't think it's a phase. I think that means, hey, look, you are, we've accepted whatever, we've done everything we can do, and we're going back to everything's normal.
Yeah. So
whenever that happens is when I can truly go back to doing what I do, and I don't know how long that's going to be. So that's very scary. The concert I have coming up is under strict guidelines. I have to do an outdoor event, which is scary for me. Luckily, this one's under a pavilion.
Yeah.
I can do max 250 people out there. That is it. That's the guidelines we're under. I haven't even been issued my liquor license yet, which is very strange. They called me. I said, look, I'm following under all the guidelines. And they said, we're not issuing anyone a special event liquor license permit. Now, right now, they said on the 9th, we're going to revisit it and we'll let you know we're doing it. So tomorrow I will find out if I'm able to sell alcohol there and not make it just a, BYOB event, which is huge because, to be honest with you, on these type of events, especially small ones, and even some of the big ones, normally the concessions is all I really make on the event.
Yeah.
So if that doesn't happen, I mean, it's pretty much I'm putting on an event for nothing. But, I don't even mind that so much because I haven't done anything in so long. I mean, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I just want to do something,
Oh, yeah. I mean, I couldn't, man, that's anybody put yourself in that position. And some people have been in that position. I couldn't imagine, basically, did you have any concerts at that time that were already in the planning stages? I got
so lucky, really. So I did, my last major concert was February 29th. I brought Jamie Johnston, great country music artist, and Colt Ford to Lamar Dixon
Love
and Gonzalez.
Jamie Johnston.
Yeah, Jamie Johnston was great.
Yeah.
And it was a great concert, 5,000 people, That was February 29th. The everything was shut down March 14th, 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
The government, I mean, that's when everybody can go outside kind of shit.
Right. Yeah.
Stay
at home.
Yes. 2 weeks. And so I was so fortunate for that because I would have lost. I mean, I had well over $100,000 invested in that concert, and I would have lost that. I mean, because you don't, in your contracts with everybody, you don't get it back.
Yeah.
They can't help a pandemic.
Right.
They're getting their money. They're already paid up front. Now, not only that, I was fortunate since I sold Laguna Beach Daiquiris in November, which was a few months right before that.
Yeah.
The new owners called me and they were like, so, I mean, did you have a magic crystal ball or something? How did you figure this out? Like, I mean, I'm like, look, if I could have predicted the pandemic, I would have made a lot more money.
Oh, no doubt about it.
And,
you'd have bought a bunch of N95 masks.
Oh, yeah. Like, Tony, why are you building up all these stockpiles of hand sanitizer and face masks and such? I'm like, I don't know. You never know what's going to happen.
You're one of the preppers. Yeah, right. That's right. And I had mentioned that to somebody the other day as I was researching this. I'm like, man, Tony was, he just got rid of that bar, within just a little bit of COVID hitting. And Tiffany Sicard with HomeKey Mortgage combines the experience and knowledge you need to make your mortgage loan a smooth, stress-free process. Reach out to Tiffany for more information on the vast mortgage programs available in the Livingston, Parish area. Tiffany Sicard of HomeKey Mortgage, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. Personally, am much like I'm sure you are, ready for things to get to that phase you just mentioned, which is, I guess, phase 0, where we don't have to worry about all this stuff. I don't know if the answer to that is when they, release a vaccine or what it is, but I wish it were today.
Sure.
And
I do know one thing, though, that I can tell as the months go on is that the American people aren't stupid. All right.
Yeah.
They're not stupid. They're getting fed up with this. They're truly now are getting to the point where they're educated enough about this virus.
Yeah.
From listening to experts from all around the world, that they're going to know enough themselves to make grown-up decisions.
Yeah.
To expose themselves or not. I'm at the point in my life where I think I'm healthy enough where that I am not in fear of this virus at all. All right. There are a lot of people out there who should be, though, because
they have pre-existing conditions.
Correct. But for the people who aren't, let us make that decision. We're grown people, and we're smart people, and this is a free country. So let us do that. And I think that's going to happen soon, whether the government says yeah or no.
Right.
It's really just going to happen. Like the people, once people actually decide to do something, they do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I'm telling you, the next 2-3 months, that's going to happen.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, at the beginning of this pandemic, I was, you said a key point earlier, in that your first concern was, man, I hope this ain't as bad as everybody thinks. And that's a very unselfish way to think. A lot of people would be, oh God, what about my business? So that shows, your just sincerity and I guess humanity, that would be your first thought. And beyond that, all of us as a country, we complied with the stay at home. A lot of us had no idea, you, me, or anybody, even the doctors, of how serious this was initially. So everybody's like, okay, hey man, we need to chill out for 30 days or 14 days or whatever it was. No problem. We're going to do that because we don't want to, we don't want to get people sick any more than anybody else. And then it kind of extended on and it extended on and it extended on and people get more frustrated with that, Tony. And so I agree with you that, eventually it's going to have a breaking point somewhere. Triton HealthCare, located at 8128 Florida Boulevard in Denham Springs, offers a wide range of physical therapy services for a number of chronic and acute ailments. Whether it's sports injuries, injuries from accidents, or neurological disorders, Triton HealthCare can take care of it. They offer post-surgery rehab services, which is a specialized sports medicine program, and massage, as well as occupational and speech language therapies. So check out Triton HealthCare, who has been an active part of the Livingston Parish community since 1999 and are dedicated to providing the very best and rehabilitative care to all Livingston Parish residents. They can be reached at 225-791-8666, and they are a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast.
It's been time since they've learned about it. I mean, the herd immunity process has to start.
Yeah.
And the only way for us to protect people who aren't, who are very susceptible to dying from this virus are to stop them is for the healthy people to build up immunities to it.
Yeah.
The more of us that become immune to it, the more people that become immune to it, then the less likely it is for them to spread it. Like I said, we're all adults and we can make our own decisions with this. And I think that's the key to this right now.
I agree. And hopefully, people will come to that realization sooner rather than later. So now that everything's gotten kind of better, not, we're not at least locked down at home, rather than a total shutdown, you finally actually been able to at least plan something, which you've done. I've seen it all over Facebook lately, and it's my hope there's going to be so much excitement around this outdoor event that folks will just be dying to get out there to the Livingston Parish Fairgrounds in mid-October 16th.
October 16th, this Friday night. 16th. I didn't want to mess with LSU.
Yeah.
I don't want to put it during while LSU's playing. I don't care who they're playing. I'm a big LSU fan. I go to all the games and
sure. Yeah, you don't want to compete against that.
Friday night's cool,
Yeah. And look, people have, just like you've been dying to put out an event, people have been dying to go to one, Tony.
No, I've gotten great response from it. I mean, we've the ticket sales have been great on it, and the response, like you're saying, I can't tell you how many people inbox me and text me, or like when I just go to the restaurant, hey Tony, thanks for that. Look, this concert, I'm looking forward to it, and blah blah blah.
So tell us, it's called the Rock and Country event. And you discussed the bands a little bit earlier, but go over the list again of the bands.
Yeah, we have Downfall and Bulletproof. It's a rock band, and they play, they're great. They play stuff like Creed, Nickelback, Tool, like a lot of early 2000s rock. Like that is, and I mean, when I tell you this guy can sing, he sounds like Chris Cornell. Like, I mean,
really,
he has a huge voice.
Awesome.
Huge voice. Rare, And then Bulletproof is my little hidden secret out there. They, I remember first hearing them and saying, man, this band is good.
Yeah.
Man, it's really good. I mean, like we got, our local boy Chase Tyler here, and Parish kind of are two of the large touring Louisiana country acts. Right?
Yeah.
And they've got a lot of steam behind them. And the reason why they do it, because they're very talented bands, and they know how to entertain a crowd. And there's not many good country bands that are capable of doing that. This little band I'm talking about can be just like those guys and do just as well.
Same genre?
Same genre.
Okay.
And you know what the keys to those bands are is not only having just a very talented band, but just having a great set list.
Yeah.
Playing songs like they understand how to get that crowd into it.
Awesome. And so that's kind of a special treat for an event like that, is hearing somebody that maybe you haven't heard before, new to their music. Because I'm telling you, when you discover a band for the first time that you haven't heard before and you really dig that sound, it's special. It's a big deal. I've been to several, just clubs where I've walked in and there's been just a guy on a guitar, and it's just something about that sound, man, and it'll stop me in my tracks. And I'm like, who is this guy? And next thing you know, I'm trying to find out who this guy is and wondering why he is not somewhere in, Nashville or something. Right. He's so good.
We have a lot of talent here in Louisiana. I'm telling you, a ton of talent. Now that I switched from the MMA fighters to the music industry, it's, I've always been a big fan, but I always, like when we had these events, I tell you what I was doing. I was doing that really helped out. Besides, we were talking about earlier, putting all the bands on every night that, gave them a lot of exposure. One of the things I did was on a Wednesday night, I was pairing up people who had never played together.
Yeah.
They never met. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many of the great local musicians, they know of each other. They've heard of each other, but never have met each other or played together. And the reason why is because they're all busy playing on the same nights.
Right.
So they just.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
right. So I did this thing on Wednesday night, which never books anybody pretty much on Wednesday nights. So that's why I was able to get them. And I would pair them up. Now I'm telling you, some of those nights were magic. These guys were so good. And not only were they so good, they become really good friends, and their fans that follow them now got exposed to another talent.
Yeah.
And so they gained so many new fans from that. Yeah, it was really nice. I really enjoyed that.
Man, I can't wait to get back to them days when you can just walk in and, a bar, go to an event and just listen to a band. I'm ready. So let me ask you this. In conjunction with this concert, you mentioned there's going to be a limitation in the amount of people you can have. Tickets still available?
Yes.
Okay.
They
Good
can
deal.
get them. They can get them from either band if they know the bands. They both have hard tickets. Also, if they can't, they can go online to JarreauEntertainment.com and purchase the tickets right there.
There you go. So if there's still some space available, you can go to JarreauEntertainment.com, or if you're familiar with the bands, some of the guys personally, they do have hard tickets, and let's pack that place out with there's a limitation of 250 there. Let's put 251 in there.
We're gonna have a mechanical bull there too. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Mechanical bull. We're gonna have some carnival foods. I got my buddy to bring in one of those big carnival trailers. We're talking funnel cakes.
Oh yeah.
Hamburgers, corn dogs. Yeah, man, we're gonna have all that. So that's gonna be cool.
Me and Q will be at you can find us at the corn dog spot
right
over there. That's good stuff. Yeah, man. Fair food is the best by far.
I've got James Gilmore from 100.7 The Tiger.
Yeah,
he's my professional MC on the show.
Okay.
He'll be introducing and announcing. Well, we'll do the national anthem by guitar to start the show off.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
Man, that's huge.
It's a good little production. We try to do the best we can with it, even a small show.
That's it. And really what you're doing here is you're trying to give Livingston Parish something and maybe this will be kind of the start of something, and it'll just keep getting better and better from here. That's what I hope for. So let me ask you, you're from Walker, Livingston Parish, born and bred. What do you love most about Livingston Parish?
I tell you what I love most about Livingston Parish is we, for so long, when I was a young man, was made fun of. Even my own dad, he lives here now. My dad lived in Baton Rouge, and my parents were separated, and so I lived in Walker, and he was actually, I think he was living in Zachary at the time. So I mean, those Livingston people and blah blah, kind of, and guess where he lives now? Exactly. Right. King of God's country. Look, and that's what I'm proud of. You know what I'm saying? We come a long way, and it's a beautiful place to live. The people here are great, and the entrepreneurship here, I mean, it's booming. This parish is growing out of control, man. I mean, even the infrastructure is struggling to maintain it right now. That's why you see all these roundabouts just popping up everywhere, because we're desperate to keep things moving, because it's gotten so full. So that's what I'm most proud about, about my little hometown.
Yeah, and Tony, what one thing we do, there ain't nothing that's going to stop us in a flood or anything else. We got each other's back.
Right.
And that's something that you will not find in I'm not going to call out any towns, but in a lot of towns in this state. When the chips are down, we get after it. Right. We're going to protect each other. We're going to pull each other out of the floodwaters and all those sorts of things. It's very rare that you find that. So awesome thing there. Now, if you could change something about Livingston Parish, what would it be?
Me and you worked on Ivy Graham's election party. And I don't really go out and support a lot of politicians locally. I have a lot of great friends that are running. I do it every once in a while. The reason I supported Ivy was, one, I knew her personally, and I knew what kind of person she was, but also because, she was running against Buddy pretty much, and I know, but Buddy's a good guy. But what I don't like is hand-picked politicians, people who are set to take somebody's place. I mean, it's almost like an inheritance.
Yeah.
Here in Livingston Parish, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like the good old boy system, because I don't think I want the politicians to fight for our vote.
Right.
Because I think that makes them better.
Sure.
You know, and makes them more accountable. But when they're picked and chose before the election ever happens, that doesn't do anybody any good, even if they're good.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
And so that is if I could change anything here, that's what it would be.
Yeah. And you know, I agree with that. I mean, sometimes things can get definitely political in Livingston Parish, and I don't think anybody should be just kind of like the heir apparent to anything. And not that in this case, Buddy Mincy was or wasn't, but because you support one candidate doesn't mean you absolutely have hatred for another or,
absolutely
you know, anything like that.
I think Buddy's a great guy. He's been around here forever.
Yeah.
I just, like I said, I want all the politicians. This thing just has nothing to do with Buddy at all. This has to do with everybody running for office. I actually want, you know, some people go uncontested, and I hate that actually.
Yes.
Because I really wish that they would have qualified people running every time. You know, Brandon and Jeff were in a tough battle. You know, Jeff had went, you know, unopposed for a long time. Well, I think Brandon coming in, even though he lost, it was a good thing, because what happened was now, you know, it makes everybody fight for that vote. Right. Jeff went out there and hustled and worked his butt off, made some promises and says, hey, I'm going to do these things, because he had somebody competitive running against him.
Sure.
That is a good thing.
It's all about the push, Tony.
That's a good.
Stephanie Berthelot and the crew at SR Enterprise can handle it all, from sheetrock to texture to paint. Give Stephanie a call at 504-432-9284. SR Enterprise, where they spread the paint and you spread the word. And that's something that even relating it to me, and of course I've been a sales guy my whole life, and I've had some success with it. You know, a lot of hard work, a lot of success. But when people ask me how I've had the success I've had, I said it's because there was always someone that was pushing me, and there was always someone I was chasing. And when you stop having something to chase or someone to push you, you become very complacent. And that is just human nature. If you can rest on your laurels, us as just human beings will do that. Politicians included. I mean, if you run uncontested, you're not getting pushed by anybody. You're basic. You have no challengers. So that can be, a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. When people get in that position and they have power, you know, they have a power of a major influence in any jurisdiction, you name what it is. But but shout out to Ivy Graham. She's awesome. And I'm trying to get her on here. So call her and tell her you had a great time. Yeah. And you really need to do Jim's part.
I haven't, I haven't seen Ivy in a while. And I used to see her. That's the only thing bad about being out of the bar business. There's a lot of my friends who would pop in, and it's not like Ivy went there a lot. You know, she might go there. She went there maybe
She's there every day.
3-4 times a year, you know. But there's a bunch of friends I have who would just pop in to say hey and just, you know, we'd have a drink and just catch up real quick.
Sure.
Well, when you don't have that little watering hole anymore, I go, you know, long periods of time without seeing and talking to any of these people that I used to see all the time.
Yeah, and you're a people person.
Absolutely.
And so you know, there's something to be said for somebody just popping in. You didn't even expect your buddy to stop by, and it's like, hey man, what's up? And you spend 30 minutes just catching up every so often. So that's another good point there. Tony, we discussed where people can find you on social media. Again, for giving one more time, if they want tickets to this event, let's sell that puppy out quick.
Yep,
what is
JarreauEntertainment.com. You can go buy some tickets there. You can also look at Jarreau Entertainment on Facebook and just like us there. Yep. If you are going to the event, you know, if you tag some friends and share it,
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tag, Tony's Facebook. I'm going to tag the link to get the tickets on this video. So if you're watching this on YouTube, there's going to be a link down there. Just click that link. It'll bring you right where you need to be to get those tickets to this rocking country event. And we're going to sell that puppy out quick. I got a couple gifts for you. Some of my great sponsors. So I'm going to present you these. This is, I know you like to hunt, Tony, or you like to hide from people. Either one of those two things.
That's right.
This hat right here, this is a little camo hat from Farrell Calhoun Paint Company.
I'm a hat guy.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm going to give you that. This is from me for being on my show. That's the Local Leaders official t-shirt. And I even got something for you to drink out of. Now,
Sweet.
Sporting Center in Denham Springs, been around, since 1978. James Adam McCants can actually laser engrave your logo on these cups. He has a laser there that does it. And I mean, in-house and quick. So I'm going to give you that.
Too.
Yeah.
It's
nice
high quality
tumbler.
stuff here. Yeah.
Definitely. So all of that is from those good folks.
That's awesome.
I'd like to thank McHugh David for engineering this podcast as usual. My guest for today, Tony Jarreau of Jarreau Entertainment, the Livingston Parish News for the space, and all you viewers and listeners for your support. Please follow me on all my social media. Spread the word. I would like to also thank my sponsors for this show. I simply could not do any of this without all of you. If you're interested in sponsoring Local Leaders of the podcast or appearing on the show, please reach out to me by emailing jim@paintpodcast.com. If you're interested in getting our newsletter, The Weekly Reader, straight to your inbox, I'm attaching the link in the description of this video. So check it out and sign up. It's completely free. Until next time, I am Jim Chapman, reminding you to love your community, support local business, and keep leading.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.